National education policy, what you need to know, what are the major changes. So basically what we are trying to do is move from a British education system to more or less an American education system. You might understand this with a simple example, like boards have been given priority and weightage with your British system, however less weightage has been given in the American system, and the same has been part of your new education policy. Similarly, there has been changes with your research. So under the British system you have MPhil PhD, under the American system it's mainly PhD. So we are moving from MPhil PhD to only PhD, and that's removal of MPhil. So that is again one of the major things that we would understand. We would understand the major impacts on schooling and college education in a while, but just to have an overview of the major changes that have been there is, firstly, entrance exams would be slowly and gradually phased out. There would be a reduction in rote learning, and more emphasis would be there on knowledge based and applied learning. So rote based learning would reduce. The idea is to reduce the importance of coaching institutions, and there would be a single common entrance exam conducted by NTA, National Testing Agency, which would be applicable for all the students. As we said, for your research there would be removal of MPhil. More emphasis for the students would now take place for the scoring subjects. Why? Because there has been an open selection for subjects that would be there. There would be more flexibility, no rigid lines between arts, commerce and sciences or humanities. So you would have flexibility to choose courses even after your 10th, and the pattern would change from 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, which we would understand in a while. It would be more interdisciplinary, but this interdisciplinary approach would bring in more flexibility on one end, but it could turn to be disastrous in the case that students would not be having good combinations, and there could be irrelevant combinations that could be tried up. The next is there would be more flexibility in terms of entry and exit. So there would be flexible time period in which you can complete your master's program. So rather than a rigid program of 2 years, there could be a flexibility from 1 to 1.5 years to 2 years based on the time duration an individual is able to complete it. So let's say you have to cover 80 credits. It depends on you whether you complete it in 1 year, 2 years or 1.5 years or more than 2 years. Again, you can switch between institutions. You can switch from one institution, collect the points in your academic credit bank, and then move to another institution for another courses. Similarly, MERUs would be established, which is multidisciplinary education and research units, which would be similar to your IITs and IIMs. The next is this whole education policy that has been proposed would be rolled out in school education system from 2021 and in college education system from 2022. So those in the approaching ages for your 10th 12th must need to know about the changes and when they would be applicable to them. There would be more centralization of the powers, and the state fundings would slowly and gradually reduce. Autonomy is to be promoted among most of the colleges and universities. As we said, flexibility. So this flexibility would not only be at the university level but also at the school level. So you would have NIOS programs that would be enhanced. Right now they are available only for 10th and 12th, but now they would be occurring at grade 5, 3 and grade 8. So classes 3, 5 and 8 you would also have NIOS, and that is an idea to focus more on open schooling system. So open schooling systems would be enhanced, but overall what we could understand is till grade 5 there would be all the instructions would be given in your regional or mother tongue. So there could be a probability that those students who are from an English medium background would perform good later in their studies, because in higher studies when the students are opting for sciences, mathematics, whole of the curriculum would be ultimately in English, but the students who have been educated in their mother tongue, in their regional languages till grade 5 would face difficulty. So that is one of the major challenges, and there could be a probability that English medium students could get an edge over others in the higher schooling. Now let's come on to what would be the major changes for the school education. As we said, we would be moving from a 10 plus 2 system to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. That means this 4 denotes classes 9 to 12th, this denotes classes 6 to 8th, 3 denotes classes 3 to 5, and below 5 there would be 5 years of schooling. This would be Bal Vatikas for students under 5 years of age, and then 2 years, that is class 1 and 2, would be together under this 5 years. These early schooling years would be very important, and it would focus on creative learning and creative thinking. Again, there has been a focus on bagless days. That means reducing the burden on the students, and at least 10 days which would be bagless would be introduced. Vocational courses would be introduced in the school education system, and these the vocational courses would be like internship opportunities, and they would be available to students even during the holiday period. Now, this vocational courses would definitely enhance the overall productivity of the nation, where if we compare India to other nations like Korea, we have very low percentage of trained manpower with vocational training. However, that proportion is significantly high for countries like Korea and Japan. So definitely, if we are trying to bring in vocational education in the early days, it would enhance productivity in the later years and the quality of vocational skills that would be developed. As we said, the exams would now be conducted twice a year. So the board examination, first of all, the importance would reduce. So firstly, the importance would reduce. The second important concept is there would be exams 2 times a year. Students would be free to opt for an annual exam, semester exam, or a modular exam. There would be more flexibility. The question paper would be a set of objective as well as descriptive questions that would be coming in. And students would be allowed to take multidisciplinary subjects during their 11th and 12th, rather than the rigid courses of art, science and commerce. So a student can opt for, let's say, economics along with science and maths, opt for psychology, sociology along with chemistry or physics. So there could be various number of combinations that students can go for. But yes, definitely this would increase an edge for scoring subjects. Languages might get reduced in this scope for higher education. The next is, the idea is to move from coaching to less coaching or nearly no coaching, because we would be introducing a new system which would be similar to SAT examination, which is the SAT examination in United States for entrance to your bachelor's. Now this SAT examination would have main focus on literacy and mathematics, so foundational literacy, English comprehension skills, and then you would have mathematical skills, reasoning, that would be main focus. So moving from the rote learning of the concepts that are asked in most of the examinations, the concept would be more focused on knowledge, more focused on applied criteria. So the pattern of examinations would drastically change. The sole idea is to promote knowledge industry. The next is entrance examinations, as we said, would be SAT-like, so there would be more flexibility, and the conventional entrance exams would slowly and gradually be phased out. And the idea is to provide lesser burden to the students, focus more on foundational literacy, as we said, numeracy, the basic skills of learning until class 5. Education would be in your regional language, in your mother tongue. There is no hard and fast compulsory English language that would be imposed. Again, 3 language formula would be there. There would be a 360-degree holistic progress report that would be generated, rather than a progress report which is mainly focused on your subjects. So learning outcomes and how a student is achieving the learning outcomes would be one of the major criteria that would be sought. For B.Ed courses, for teaching, 4-year integrated B.Ed degree would be required. So moving from the just 1 or 2 years B.Ed program, there would be a compulsory 4-year B.Ed program that would be introduced if a person wants to go into teaching for school education. So that was about school education. The next is, when it comes to colleges, there would be a drastic change. We have been already hearing a lot about transition from UGC to Higher Education Commission of India. Now this Higher Education Commission of India would have 4 subdivisions, as we have mentioned here. The National Accreditation Council, the NAC, would provide the accreditations, as we also know, as it has been already there. The Higher Education Grants Council would be looking for the funding issues. Then you would have the Higher Education Regulatory Council, which would be focusing on the regulations, the rules and the regulations there. And the last would be the General Education Council. This would be focusing on the standards that should be set for education system. As we said, we would be moving from an MPhil PhD to only PhD courses. So MPhil would be wiped off, moving from simply a British education system to an American education system. The next important thing is, rather than compulsory courses, there would be flexible courses, and this is where we say from a single entry point we would have multiple entry and exit point. So there would be two things that should be very clear. First, let's say you are looking to complete 80 credits. For example, you have to complete 80 credits. Rather than covering that in the period of 2 years, a student can wish to complete it in a period of, let's say, 2 years or 2.5 years or 1 year or 1.5 years. So there would be flexibility in the duration in which you can complete your credits. Again, if I want to shift from university, let's say there is some family issue or there is some personal reasons for which a person has to move back to his native place for a couple of durations, so he can take certain courses during that time from a different university or a different institution. All the points or all the credits, we would say, would be accumulated in the credit bank. A credit bank would be created, and this could be used for your final degree that would be allotted. Now here we can say, from a single entry and exit, let's say you enter into a university and then you pass out from that university. Rather than that, you would have multiple entry and exit points that could be there. I could take few courses from one university, another courses from another university, and finally have complete all my credits and have a degree. So that is from a single entry exit to a multiple entry exit, and from the compulsory 2 years duration to a flexible duration. Also, the bachelor's program would now be 3 to 4 years, and there would be a compulsory entrance exam which would be taken by NTA, the National Testing Agency, for entry into the bachelor's program. So education definitely would be revamped based on this. Research would be given priority. You would have National Research Foundation, NRF, which would be established, and research would be on priority. We are trying to move from local to global, that is global. So you would have interdisciplinary courses that could be taken with other universities across globe. Indian universities being signing MOUs with other universities, and affiliations to the colleges would be slowly and gradually phased out in a period of 15 years. So those are some of the major key highlights for college education system. And as we said, MERUs would be established, which is multidisciplinary education and research units, at par with the present day IITs and IIMs for multidisciplinary education across various subjects. Now, if we look onto the global picture, what are the major changes in overall perspective? So one of the major changes is the proportion to the GDP spending is significantly increased from 1.7% to 6% of the GDP would be there for education. So significant spendings would go into GDP. The next is the Ministry of Human Resource and Development would be renamed as Education Ministry, and the languages which were predominantly the 3-language formula in the school education and in the higher education system, you would have compulsory languages, would now also be students would now be allowed to opt for indigenous languages, and promotion of indigenous languages like Pali, Prakrit and translation languages would be promoted. So that is again one of the major aspects that we would be understanding here. Financial autonomy would be given to nearly 45,000 affiliated colleges. For schooling, there would be introduction of new courses like the 21st century courses, which would focus on coding, computer codings, and also on vocational education, which would be given priority. As we said, Bal Vatikas would be established for students below 5 years or up to the age of 5. There would be variability or flexibility in terms of board examinations. There would be annual, modular or semester systems that would be introduced. Similar flexibility would be granted for your university exams as well. So the sole idea is to reduce the burden on the students, to bring in more flexibility, more interdisciplinary approach, more applied and vocational learning programs. So that is something that has been the main focus. NIOS would get more strengthened with introductory courses for class class 3, 5, 8 along with 10th and 12th at present. So the dropouts would significantly reduce and universalization of education system could be achieved. So that was some of the quick highlights for the National Education Policy 2020. We would be bringing many more interesting such topics. Have a wonderful day ahead.